Kay and I felt that there are things that we have to go into, that we can go into, that we're limited when we have a guest, because
we want to talk about the guest. And because we want to talk about the guest, we then gear it towards talking about their career, their history, etc. But sometimes we want to just like get into the nitty-gritty of acting and
the nuts and bolts of
Yes.
acting, character, the things that we want to go deep into it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think there's so many, misconceptions. What do you think, Mark, about like what acting is and what the process is?
Oh, absolutely. I think there's so many different things, or people that are method or not method, or this.
Doesn't make a difference.
Yeah,
right.
exactly. But
isn't the goal to make it real?
No.
Isn't the goal to make it real in the imaginary world of the script? Now, if that's not your definition, to make it real and keep it real, to create life or behavior in the imaginary world of the script.
Then you can stop listening right now,
Right,
because that's what we're talking about.
Because then you're doing something else. And there are other but if you look at any great acting, isn't that what they're doing? They're making us believe that they're really 100% living. And the reason they're making us believe is because they're living.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So we want to get into the nuts and bolts of that definition.
Mm-hmm. We're going to do deep dive.
Because most studios, most universities or colleges forget to keep that always in the front.
Yeah.
Is this about making it real? Or is that what we're doing here?
Because if it's not about making it real, what is the purpose?
Then what are you doing? Then you're doing entertainment.
Yeah.
Then it's comedy.
Yeah.
Meaning it's stand-up or it's something.
Yeah.
But even comedy in scripts is about making it real.
Right. So today we're going to talk about point of view. I was just thinking about this the other day because I was speaking with a person who said, I'm suddenly realizing that not everybody is being upfront and telling the truth. And I didn't really realize that. And, you know, part of the thing that when the two of us met, my default position, because of where I'm from in Iowa, right? And I don't know if this is true for you, Mark, but coming from the Midwest, is the way that you were raised, is your default assumption that people are telling the truth? Or because Aaron's default assumption from the where he was raised is that everybody's lying. And that comes from your background as, you know, the children of Holocaust survivors and immigrants, and your default position or your assumption about what people are doing is that they're lying to you. And that came from your parents. And mine is people are telling the truth. That's the default assumption.
They are lying. I don't even know what you're talking fucking about right now. Just because you think they're telling they're absolutely 100% lying. Every single person. Hey, how are you? Nice to meet you. Is it really nice to meet you?
Okay, well,
They're
I'm not really
in any
talking
way
about
like
that. That's speaking about like pleasantries, but I'm talking about on more basic things about, you know, what people tell you about their lives.
Yeah, how much money are you making a year?
Right.
Everyone's going to tell you, right, Mark? How much you making a year, Mark? Right?
not enough.
Yeah. See?
Never enough.
See? He's not going to. No one's going to tell you what they're making. No.
Yeah, I think my default position would probably also be trusting everyone,
Yeah.
which is dangerous.
If you want to trust everyone, it's certainly a cool thing. Just make sure that you could sit down easily after you get fucked up the ass day after day. Is this a little too real for everyone now? What are you fucking talking about? Everyone lies. Did you read the script? Oh, I read the script numerous times. Yeah. Are you getting enough sleep? Absolutely. I'm getting plenty of sleep, you know. Cheating on your girlfriend? What are you talking about? I would never cheat on my girlfriend. Never. These are pleasantries, right?
I know.
Pleasantries.
But Aaron.
Pleasantries.
But Aaron, You and I both agree that either default position is actually inaccurate and unhealthy.
No, everyone lies. This is the thing you have to start.
Oh, sure.
with.
Everyone lies, but not all the time.
Nonstop.
Oh,
Everyone lies. Hold it. Everyone lies nonstop. Then you can go. I'll let you talk to me about all the truths everyone are telling you. The only thing that you have to figure out that's good is how much are they lying? Are they a big motherfucking liar like Donald Trump? Are they that kind of liar, you know? Or are they a little liar like you, who lies very little?
I'm a little liar.
That's right.
Well, I think so. One thing that I've been breaking down recently is that I had this, I wouldn't say golden child syndrome, but I always wanted to be perceived coming from the Midwest and like, especially when I left at 19. So I came to at 19, and if I fucked up in LA, I wouldn't tell my family because I want to still be perceived as this person.
Right. And you do not want to admit that things aren't going well because you cannot go back to the Midwest with your tail tucked between your legs. Right.
And so now.
And your ass hurting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
from all the
too.
other liars.
Right.
So lying somewhat, but maybe not telling the full truth because I wanted to be perceived as this.
Yeah.
And then once I finally made that switch of like, oh no, I want to really just be exactly who I am. Now I'm probably overly communicating, you know, my deepest, darkest shit. So with the opposite way, but it was because of that, like the Midwest mentality and trying to be like the all-American guy or something.
Strong and never have any vulnerability. Yeah, everything's going great.
Meanwhile.
Avoidant.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's such an interesting, to me, I think the thing that, and you know, I know that you, of course, you have a strong point of view on this, and you'll be unafraid to share it. But
I'm very comfortable sitting down. I got no problem because I just worked out a simple premise.
You and I both know.
Me and LL Cool J, we were like the same. We were like, wow. When we got together, it was like, oh, we are like the same. We just trust no one. You have to earn the trust. It's not that you don't trust anyone, but you got to earn it. Whenever you meet anyone, you just assume, well, these are liars until they earn it. Because everyone is a human being. And that's the state of humans.
Here's the thing, though, Aaron. I know you too well. I don't believe you that at this point that's where your philosophy has stayed because I know you too well.
You mean I'm lying?
Yes, you're lying right now. You are, because we've talked about it so many times that actually now, and this is where I've moved to as well, I think I still err on the side of trusting people, believing people, but I think more now what I do is I wait for more information. In other words, I neither believe nor disbelieve. I neither think you're telling the truth nor lying. I wait, reserve judgment until I can get a better sense of, based on your actions, what the truth is.
It's difficult to do that. You try. That's a good thing, but like I don't trust Mark. I mean, I trust him more than when I met him. You know, but I don't really trust Mark. I trust Mark to show up on time and to do the job that he does, which he always does. He's reliable.
Yeah.
Do you know?
Yeah.
I like Mark. I could even say I love Mark, but Mark said loan me $40,000.
So then now we're getting really granular with the idea of like what it means to trust somebody, because you can trust somebody, but also have limitations on how far you're willing to go in terms of help.
So then how much you trust him?
I don't know.
Well, when money is
$40,000 worth? $100,000 worth? $10,000? You can actually put a number on this thing. Yeah. Watch, I'll show you. I got $100 in my pocket. I would loan it to you for sure. Right now. Would you loan me 100?
Yes.
How about 1,000?
Yes.
He just hit something that was really profound, that he knows me.
Right.
So the number has gone up. How about, what's his name?
Gabe?
How about loaning Summer 20? She needed $20.
Yes.
But really,
1,000.
No.
Yeah. See, now, of course.
500? Probably.
No, I get you. And I'm trying to just, really what I'm doing is trying to make everyone think right now.
Yeah.
The number thing is almost silly, but it forces you to think.
Yeah, I always tell people too. So, and you remember when I went through something with this. People are like, "Oh, I'm writing this. Me and my friend are writing the script." I'm like, "Okay,
Yes.
cool. Have you guys done the
Yes.
collaboration agreement yet?" It's like,
Yes.
well,
That's what I
just
asked you.
yeah. But putting something in place. It's not easy to bring that up at the
Mm-hmm.
first, maybe a couple times, but you will. And when I tell people now, I'm like, I don't even trust myself in the
Yeah,
future.
I
You can't
know.
trust these other people around you because once
Yeah.
money's involved,
I
once there's
know.
opportunities on the table,
Yeah.
write a collaboration agreement that states what the percentages are, what happens if they can't finish it, or if you can't finish it, who has the rights to say it. Otherwise, you're going to go all the way down this path and you're going to be screwed at the end of the day. You got to really figure something out. So it's that same thing of like, trusting somebody, but once money gets involved or creativity, it's tough.
Well, when you act in scripts, the scripts are built around the fact that you can't trust people. They're built around
You're
these
talking
issues.
about a screenplay? You're talking
Yeah,
about
screenplay.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
right.
Screenplay.
Yes.
Script, yeah.
Yeah.
They're built around that people are no good. And some people are good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the whole idea of a contract in the first place is built to set up anybody who needs to be protected. That is a contract. And if you don't have somebody who's looking out for your best interests in a contract, you get screwed.
There's always people say like, my handshake is my contract.
Oh God, yeah.
And
My word is my
word.
contract. Yeah.
The whole reason contracts came about, is because everyone was lying.
I know. Yes.
Why do you have to have a contract?
I know.
What do you mean? We're partners, You're my partner. We wrote
right.
this so we share in all this,
It's also because people really change. It's like the feeling that you have on the day that you make that deal is going to change into an entire new feeling a year down the line when suddenly you feel like, well, I have been the primary contributor to this screenplay or this project or the whatever. And so now your feelings about what is fair have entirely changed. You don't know what it's going to be in the future. So you have to lay it down because it's not even about lying. It's that your feelings change.
Absolutely. Your feelings change and then you lie.
Yes. It makes you break your word.
Humans have a fantastic capability of believing anything.
I know.
Anything.
Wait, what's the Sapiens quote?
The Sapiens quote?
Yeah. What's the thing that he says? You just read it to me the other day.
But that'll take us off on a
new
huge
tangent.
that I don't want to.
You love tangents, Aaron.
Yeah, but we're on to an acting issue.
Yes.
That actors who are Homo sapiens can believe anything.
I know.
There is nothing that we cannot believe. Nothing.
We can believe the world is round. We can believe the world is flat.
We
can
have,
believe that
right.
it's hexagonal.
Right.
We really can believe anything. And if you show us evidence, we'll buy it.
We can believe heaven is up and hell is down. Well, wait a second.
Right.
Wait, you just pointed up. Oh, did I point up? Because if the world is round, which way is up? And when up and down, heaven is up and hell is down, came from a time when the world is flat.
Yes.
And hell is on the bad side of the which no one has ever seen the bad side of flat.
Yeah.
And heaven is in some mystical place above the mountains.
I know. And we always look at other people's beliefs and we go like, how could they possibly believe that? Without examining that we firmly believe things that other people feel the same way about us. And we're like, well, it's obvious. It's so obvious that ours is correct. We believe them so firmly that it's truth.
The only thing that is truth is that we're animals, and what does that involve? Remember we were talking about doing a movie short about
the mating rituals of Homo sapiens.
if you watch the nature programs, have you
Yes.
ever watched the guy? He talks like this. He's an Englishman. He goes, chimpanzees mate once a month.
What's his name? Do you remember David?
David.
He does all of them.
He's most famous.
He is so famous because he speaks.
The insect population is a very strange. The praying mantis, when they mate, the male must move quickly,
If he has
or she bites his head off. He didn't move fast enough, and then they show you the praying mantis bite the
Eating
fucking fucking head.
What is it? What is it?
You said it was David?
Yeah. It's the guy who does all
Attenborough?
Planet Earth. Yes. Attenborough. Richard
Richard
Attenborough.
Attenborough.
Richard Attenborough.
And then they show you all the bird doesn't know that she's sitting on the wrong egg. And then they show you, and the bird is like real stupid. The bird's going like, and when the egg hatches, it eats the other eggs. And they show you the Frankenstein.
So wild. Yeah. The things that we watch on nature shows are so, they're extreme because that's what,
But we
tune
are
in for.
animals.
Yes.
And we forget.
I know.
And so and then you would show the male of the species searches for an appropriate female, and you go into a bar and you see the guy walking in. He's got this
Rolex.
nice watch, and the female is attracted to shiny objects. And you see the chick go, damn. She says to her friend, look at that watch. Wow. That motherfucker got some Skrilla,
He'd loan me $1,000.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
And she will exhibit herself to attract the male. And then you see her going stupid shit like that,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a funny, we're so fixated on men lie to women. I'm like, women lie to men.
Everyone lies to
We're
everyone.
all lying to each other to get what we want. We're all fucking lying to each other because we cannot bear to really say what we want. We have to hide it. We have to hide it in all of these layers of intrigue so that you will actually want to be with me, and then we will get the thing that we want, which is a settled relationship with monogamy and money. There's so many women.
She said money weird. Did you see that?
Because
Did you see that?
because for so many women, security
Whoever's
is so
with her is in
powerful.
trouble.
I know. I agree.
So what are scripts about? Screenplays are about people trying to get these things. So it sounds like, well, I want to get married. The simplicity of that.
Yeah.
He wants to get married. And certainly we all want to mate. I prefer mating than married.
I know.
But marriage is a societal institute.
An institution of society?
Yes.
Yes.
Society creates this thing. Every society is different.
Yeah.
Right? So some society
Different rules.
That's
about
what I mean.
Yeah.
So some societies will pre-marry, betroth
you,
them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And in a lot of societies, only the man can divorce the woman.
Yeah.
In a lot of societies, the husband can rape the woman,
Yeah.
the wife.
It's not called
It's
rape.
legal.
They don't call it
it's not
rape.
called rape. You have to look at the rules and laws of each particular society.
Right.
Women could. Most actors don't do enough work, so they don't understand that. Oh, women couldn't vote in 1917,
Yeah, I believe 1921 was when they gained
1921. They couldn't
to
vote.
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean? Woman couldn't vote. That means you had no fucking rights.
Yeah. What was your legal recourse? I mean,
Nothing.
They couldn't even own property in many places.
A husband in the United States could rape his wife.
Mm-hmm.
This wasn't called rape. It was called a husband's duty.
Yeah, a woman's
duty.
obligation.
Yes, obligation. If you didn't do it, then the man has the right to take it. Things change.
Mm-hmm.
So as actors, we have to look, what is the current, or what year does this take place in?
Right.
What are the rules at this
the world?
point?
Right.
Because in, I don't know, half the states of the United States or large, marijuana is now legal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But if you were caught with a pound of marijuana, 10 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
10 years ago. You could go to jail for 20 years, especially if you were black. I mean, white people, they get off on...
I mean, that was a big thing when they started changing the marijuana laws. There were a lot of people that were like, am I going to have any of this wiped from my record? Because a lot of people were in prison for marijuana.
Yeah. And they actually were in prison, not
That's
just
what I'm
coming
saying.
out,
Yes. They were still in prison for marijuana offenses. So to retroactively, apply these laws, it was a big deal. I mean, I think there are still people that need to be.
It was very confusing.
Mm-hmm.
So as an actor, you have to look at, like, when does this take place? What's the theme of this story? What's the story about? Oh, it's about selling drugs. Are these drugs legal or illegal?
Mm-hmm. How illegal?
How?
No, really,
illegal?
because it's like, well, if you had like a joint in 1960, you weren't going to prison unless maybe if you were a person of color. But if
you were in
had
New York, they passed
coke, that was different. There's different levels of.
Yes.
Yeah.
Crack was different. Why was crack different than coke?
Yeah. Why? Oh, that's so true. I know. Because
It's cocaine.
yeah.
One you smoke, one you ingest differently.
Because it was primarily seen as a drug that black people used in that period of time.
But that's we don't want to go too deeply into that. But what we're trying to go into here is the drug dealer has to see the world from his or her point of view.
Yeah.
That, why am I doing something that's so wrong, as opposed to the pharmaceutical guy, the pharmacy? And then I'm selling drugs, the pharmacy's selling drugs. Now, most people, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? The pharmacy, the pharmaceutical company, is saving lives. I don't know how good the Sacklers did in that.
Oh, they murdered.
Who killed more people?
Yeah.
The fucking Sacklers with
Opioids.
Opioids.
Yeah.
So the actor has to see it as, I'm selling marijuana and hashish,
Yes.
which kills no one
Uh-huh.
except the people trying to steal it.
Right.
And the Sacklers killed hundreds of thousands, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And they're still to this day being sued
Yes.
and saying, we'll give you $6 billion because we still made another $20 billion.
Mm-hmm.
And then not one fucking Sackler went to jail.
No.
Did
And
you know?
they knew.
They completely knew.
That's what's so they knew.
So the
They
point
knew.
is, if you're acting, and they did a fantastic miniseries on
Dope sick.
Dope Sick, thank you.
Yeah.
What a great miniseries that was. Because you can watch the actors that was a wonderfully acted piece.
It was.
Really, you want to see good acting, you look at Dope Sick.
Did you see Dope Sick, Mark?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Danny
What'd you
Strong. Danny Strong, I think, is the writer or the creator of the show.
Yeah.
He's done a bunch of stuff. Loved it. Yeah, it was phenomenal.
And the Sacklers, who were the biggest drug dealers ever, bigger drug dealers than the cartels they were legally peddling their dope,
Yeah.
made in ridiculous. They don't even know how many billions they made because they're hiding it.
We really don't. We haven't seen the end of this. I mean, there are still people who are, my ex-boyfriend from Iowa, he got on back when we were dating, he was using opioids and then got off them for a while, got clean, and then went back on them and then OD'd, There's so, I mean, it's just, we have not seen the end of it. We're seeing it right now in a lot of the homeless population, the continued,
But the point,
effects.
that's a great thing that that it affected your boyfriend who died from it, I know.
Mm-hmm.
But we're talking about character point of view now.
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about. Character. So the Sacklers never thought of themselves as the cartel or dope dealers.
Mm-hmm.
They saw themselves as the saviors. They did. Pain saviors.
I know.
And when people got addicted, they said, well, no, they needed more.
Yeah.
Let them have it.
Yeah.
Stronger doses.
Pain should be treated.
Pain should be treated. We are the saviors in the world. To this day, they feel that.
Yeah.
They feel they did nothing wrong. That is a character point of view.
Mm-hmm.
You must see the world from the character's point of view. Whatever you do, you're doing it because it's the right reason.
Mm-hmm.
So if you kill someone,
Yeah.
it may have been a momentary mistake,
Mm-hmm.
but you're not a killer. We call people who kill people for sexual reasons,
Mm-hmm.
we call them serial killers,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
We have a special name for them. They're horrific, right or
Mhm.
wrong,
Of course. Yeah.
right? Serial killers.
How many podcasts are about serial
Right.
killers?
Yeah.
They
There's
kill
there's a lot.
Most of them.
children, children.
TV shows.
They chop them up. They
Yeah.
kill them.
If you believe the TV shows and podcasts, then there's like serial killers around every corner.
Yeah, they've
course,
gone. The
they're
number
very
of
rare.
serial killers have gone down actually because they have better means of catching them. But the point is, that's
Yeah.
not the point,
Yeah.
right? Serial killers, they chop them up, right? But if you're a mafia hitman who chops people up, who's killed more than serial killers,
Potentially, yeah.
if you're an assassin.
I know we
if
love
you're-
assassons.
who
we
doesn't-
love assassins.
Who doesn't like an assassin?
We love assassins because we feel that it's
That's not-
justified, whatever they're doing.
Because your government, our assassin, must
you're
be
a-
better than the other assassin.
I know.
Sniper.
You're a paid killer.
Sniper.
What you are is a paid killer. You're paid to kill. Not because you like it or you get off on it, because you're paid.
You're doing service, but I'm not being someone who's not patriotic right now. Because people are going to get confused.
Yeah, I know.
I'm saying there's a point of view. The assassin is doing the work that the country has asked him to do,
Yes.
or some association has asked him to do.
Right. So what's the separation between that and a serial killer? The point of view is quite different.
The serial killer feels he has to do it.
Mm-hmm.
The assassin feels he has to do it. I've watched enough assassin movies. This is my last one. I'm
My
going
last
to
job.
retire.
One
This is
more.
my last,
I
just one
I'm
more.
going to
one last
retire. And the
job.
government agent says, this is your last one.
Mm-hmm.
And you can retire, and then they don't know. But the government has planned
Has
after he
another
does
plan.
it, they will kill him. He knows where the bodies are. Right?
Of course, yes, of course. There's so many
Now
different
he's a rogue
variations on that
assassin.
same. Yes, that's right. Yeah,
Well, wait a second. The mafia guy is killing everyone
yeah.
and chopping them to bits many times. Usually they don't eat them.
Well, yeah.
But if they did, we have a name for that too.
Yes,
There's
we
names
do.
for that too. That's right.
Cannibalism.
So you got a script
Mm-hmm.
where you're either a serial killer
Mm-hmm.
or you're a Nazi who kills.
Yeah, you're an SS officer.
SS officer.
So what would you say your process would be to detach yourself from your current point of view and how you would feel about a situation to fully engulf yourself in the character's point of view so that way you can live truthfully in that?
If you personally find it abhorrent is...
Yes, abhorrent means absolutely revolting and repulsive to your nature.
Yes. If you can't get beyond that, because I find all these things like, of course, serial killers revolting. If you cannot get beyond that, then you can't play the role properly. You can't play the role properly.
Yeah.
Because you're going to have to join the consciousness of your character.
Yeah, it's the kind of stuff that most people don't really want to do because...
Mark, do you know what that means?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Because Mark was
Absolutely.
a brilliant actor.
Mm-hmm.
Kay was a brilliant actress.
Yeah. It's when you really do it, it should feel, even if you're playing, a sniper or a killer of, many people.
A serial killer?
At the end of the day, when you do the work, it's going to feel like you.
Well, that's the point.
Mm-hmm.
What's his name won the Academy Award for Silence of the Lambs?
Yes.
What was his name?
Anthony Hopkins.
Anthony Hopkins.
Yeah.
He killed people.
He
and
won another
ate them.
one in, yeah.
I understand,
Yes,
but
yes, you're right. Hannibal Lecter. Right.
Hannibal, he killed people. Everyone was so tickled by it.
Yeah.
Because he was the good serial killer.
Driving
know
back
the
to
story?
Michigan. Yeah, driving back to Michigan, there was a place called Hannibal, and we almost didn't stay there. And that's where Mark Twain was born because he did such a great job.
Oh, I know Hannibal. I've been there. Yeah.
He was the good serial killer who helped catch Buffalo Bob.
Buffalo Bill.
Buffalo Bill. Buffalo Bob was
Howdy, but
Rudy
he didn't.
Howdy
He
Doody.
didn't. Yes, that was the thing, though. He didn't do it for to help people. He did it out of self-interest. He negotiated, and so that was the whole thing of he is going to negotiate for the thing that he wants in order to help the Clarice.
He kills
figure out how to get Buffalo
load
Bill.
of people
Oh,
at
yeah.
the end of the movie.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does.
Cuts people's faces off when they're dead.
I would argue he is not a good serial killer, though. He's really a villain. He really is. He's one of the greatest villains of all time.
Right, but a brilliant script.
Yes. Based on a brilliant book, yeah.
And when he calls at the end of the movie and says to Clarice, I'm having dinner tonight with the doctor. The head of the head of
Chilton.
the mental
Chilton.
institute.
Yes. I think that might be in the second one.
No, that's the first one. He's on the phone.
Oh, are you sure?
Oh yeah. The first one, because he's going to eat him. The issue is, we delighted in his performance because he was so charming.
Yes, he was.
And Buffalo Bill was like, yeah, he was like, yeah, you put the guy.
Yeah, he was repulsive.
And
he
we saw him killing this beautiful little woman and young woman, and
it puts the lotion on its skin, or else it gets the hose again. That's my impression. I don't remember it, so don't quote me on it.
Right?
Yes.
And he was the repulsive serial killer.
Yes.
And that guy who played him was brilliant too.
Yeah, he was. Both of them were great actors.
The other one was a charming serial killer.
Yes. Well, he's a genius.
Yes, he was a genius.
Yes.
If you have a problem with serial killers, you can't play that role.
Yes. In other words, the reason why you kill people,
They
you have
deserve
to
it.
be, you have to get behind it. You have to really get behind the reason why you kill people. You do it for a good reason. And your perspective on death and killing is entirely different than the majority of the population.
Because our human idea of killing, of any kind of killing, is a fantasy and illusion. So in order to play these people, you must get rid of that fantasy and illusion.
What do you mean by that? It's a fantasy and an illusion.
Well, let's look at a mafia enforcer.
Yes, somebody who shows up to your house and says, "Pay up or you die."
Right. And then maybe he does kill someone. I'm using. I don't really know much about but we know a little because some of them have had ghost-written books and have.
Many people have written and confessed. Yes,
confessed about killing 30 or 40 people. They've killed 30 or 40 people.
Whitey Bulger has,
Whitey Bulger, he's one of them. There's others. They don't just kill anybody. They have to be told who to kill.
Yeah.
It's their job.
That's what they're paid for.
They're not just gonna walk over and kill anyone. They might beat you up, but they're not just gonna kill you. They have to be given instructions,
motivated to kill you by money.
And then it's okay, and they do it.
Right.
Or by family, or their family, or
so a random person who passes them on the street has nothing to fear from them because they didn't do anything. There's no reason, and I think this is the difference why we fear serial killers in a different way than a mafia hitman. Because unless you did something, the mafia hitman's not coming for you.
And the sniper,
right?
You have no reason to fear the sniper unless you're on the other side,
right,
of the battle.
Right.
None.
Right. So what's the fantasy that you're saying?
The fantasy is that we're not supposed to kill. Thou shalt not kill.
Oh, you're talking about the taboo.
What do you mean? That's God?
Yes.
Wait. I didn't write that. Moses didn't chisel it, did he? Did he?
I guess that he did.
No, if you believe in...
Yeah.
In God,
no, in every culture,
God wrote it, right?
Yes, God wrote it.
There was no law before then that thou should. So everybody was killing everybody, weren't they?
I mean, sure.
No?
But every single culture, if they want a civilization, at some point in time has a set of rules. That's the whole thing of Hammurabi's code.
Right.
In other words, there are multiple examples of law codes in various cultures, not just Christian.
Right, but until they would write it down.
Judeo-Christian.
Until they would write it down, they could argue.
Right. That's true. No, I know. That's the whole point of a legal code. Is
Herman
that
would kill you.
Right.
Right? And Herman would say, like, she was like, she mouthed off at me. And then Jonathan, who was running the tribe, would say, like, well, but we said that if mouthing off, you weren't allowed to kill. And Herman says, I wasn't there. I wasn't there at this meeting. I was hunting.
Right.
You
I didn't get that rule.
Yeah. No. When did this?
Where's the contract?
Yeah. Show me where this. I wasn't there. Now I know. I will not murder anyone now.
Right. Yeah, it's not a good way to run things.
I missed it. And now we're back to lying.
Right.
Is Herman telling the truth or is Herman lying?
Herman's fibbing.
Well, what if half the tribe says, I don't remember Herman was there. He actually might have not been there.
Yeah, and if he didn't hear the rule, then he's not bound by it.
Are we going to punish him if he didn't hear the rule?
Yeah, not his fault.
Maybe we should invent writing. I think you should invent it. This way, we have it's written, it's on the wall over there, Herman. It was on the wall for months.
Yeah.
Thou shalt not kill Herman. Well, I wasn't there when we wrote it. I know, Herman, but you pass it every day, Herman. Every fucking day, Herman.
I didn't know. Well, it's your job to know.
I don't know how to read. Herman now goes to that.
Yeah.
And they say, no, Herman.
No excuses.
No, we read it to everyone. So as an actor, you have to take, as a soldier, let's start with reality, not acting. You go in and they call it basic training. Well, what is basic training? But creating a new illusion.
That it's okay to kill if we
Not
tell you
is
to
it
kill.
only okay.
It's good.
It is required.
Yes.
We'll put you in fucking jail if you don't kill.
Right. Yeah, if you don't follow orders to
Follow orders, right?
Yeah. Go take that hill. What are they saying? Go take that hill.
And
go kill everyone on that hill until they surrender.
Drop this bomb
I know.
on the city. Well, there's children. Yeah, they fucking dropped it on our cities with children. You're going to drop it on their cities because we're trying to stop the war. But when we come back from the war, you're not supposed to kill anymore.
Stop killing.
Unless Herman fucked your wife. Then there's some rules on that one, too. If you catch him in flagrant delicto, that means actually in the act of doing it.
I know. They'll call it a crime of passion.
Yeah, we'll give it.
You'll get a lighter sentence.
Yeah, we'll only give you a couple of years
But if you
in a
plan
better
it,
prison.
that's a worse murder. So if you plan it in advance and execute it, you're going to go to prison for life.
We are capable of believing anything. So our job as teachers is to help the student learn that they're capable of believing anything, because in the beginning when they come to class, they don't believe they're able to believe anything.
Because they have
Do
no
you get that?
practice at it. They have no practice at it.
What do you mean I can believe anything?
Yes, I know. They haven't examined their own beliefs. They're not even conscious that it's like you becoming aware of the matrix. Do you know what I mean? You're like looking around and going like, no, this is what it is. This is real life. There's no other way that the world could possibly be.
And it's very subversive what we do. It's subversive because we're teaching them you can believe anything. And if you want to be a great actor, you have to believe what that character is and does. Not what the character says, but what the character does.
Yeah.
So if the character is a hero soldier and got what's called the Medal
Of honor.
I used to do a lot of work on the Medal of Honor. It was fascinating to me because the illusion of the Medal of Honor is spectacular.
Yeah. You get the Medal of Honor if you do really above and beyond special work as a soldier, correct? In other words, it's like you have to not only do brave things, but you have to be in a situation that is so extreme.
Extraordinary.
Yes. In other words, it's not just like you're brave. It's like you got put into a situation where everyone else would probably just collapse. And instead you did a remarkable thing.
There are the most remarkable stories. And of course, every country has a Medal of Honor. A large portion of the Medal of Honors die, the people who are given the medal die in the process of doing it.
Right. I doubt they know that they're getting a Medal of Honor.
No,
in other words, they're not like in the middle of it like, I'm getting a Medal of Honor for this.
No, those are only actors. They're saying, I'm going to get an Academy Award for this.
I know.
Those are the bad actors.
I know, but you said that like they die in the process, but they don't know that. In other words, it's
No,
not,
they die in the
they
process
die in the
of fighting.
process. They do something brave and they die, and then later they're awarded the Medal of Honor
because someone saw them do it.
Recognized
So there are the most amazing. If you start reading Medal of Honor stories, which I have, I've read books on them. There's like a guy who had a machine gun with two other guys, and the Germans in World War II. He was told to hold the hill at all costs. So he said, "I'm going to do it." They killed the guy on his right. They killed the guy on his left. He had enough ammunition, and he would just use the machine. They shot him 6 times, but nothing stopped him. They didn't shoot him a kill shot. He killed 200 Germans. They were all over the fucking hill, coming up the hill. They finally stopped when the next day when the other soldiers came to get him.
So he survived.
He
did not die.
survived. He didn't run. He could have run. The 3 of them could have run and gotten away. There was an exit, you know.
They told him to hold the hill.
He did it.
So he held the hill.
And he said, this is what he said. He said, I wasn't brave. I was just following my orders. The guys who were with me who died were brave.
I think most soldiers who have comrades who die say the exact same thing because...
But what was his mindset?
survival.
He said he wasn't This is what he said. He said he was scared in the beginning, then he stopped feeling anything.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's an opening into
Yeah.
what an opening he's giving an actor.
I know. That you
That he
go away, the fear. It's almost like that whole thing of like when you.
he wasn't screaming and yelling anymore.
No.
He was doing nothing. He was just shooting wherever he saw movement.
You know, they, you and I both love Alan Watts, and he talks about that as like, Alan Watts is this like, he's dead now, but he was a philosopher who sort of popularized Eastern philosophy in the West in like the 60s and 70s. And they talk about that as like satori, which is like this moment of giving over to the universe. And it's this deep feeling of peace and connection that like you're no longer in fear anymore. You are just presence. And
That's what he said he
many
was.
people have it when they have near-death experiences of different kinds where they give over to something that's, I don't know, whatever that is, the universe.
He said he didn't even know he was shot. So obviously he wasn't shot that badly. He could still use the machine gun.
The imagination can take you to certain places, but a first-hand account like that actually is more useful because your imagination might take you to a place of like, I don't know, I would be screaming and yelling. But the first-hand account is so much because there's limitations to how far our imaginations can go if we don't have certain experiences.
Well, in Tropic Thunder, they make fun of that.
Oh, I know.
He
Yeah.
has a machine gun in his arm, you
Yeah.
know, and he's
I know.
what's his name?
It's Ben Stiller. It's Ben Stiller. He's doing Rambo, you know?
Rambo shooting everyone like this.
Yeah.
And he's screaming and you can't even hear it. He's yelling. That, of course, was meant to be bad acting.
Of course, yes.
So you need that was meant to be
Yeah.
bad acting. So when you get a window into the real human being, since isn't our job to be a real human being?
Yeah, that's our job.
Our job is to create. And
Create life.
when you see bad war movies,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
that's what they
Yes.
were making fun of
The cliche, I know. The like,
in Tropic Thunder.
yes.
There are many directors who said those war movies are just, that's not the way it is.
There's no glamour in killing people. And the glamour
glamour.
sometimes is, the best war movies are made by people who do meticulous research.
That was one of the biggest things when I first started studying with you guys. It was like how to do the right research
Mm-hmm.
Right.
to inform. So to join the consciousness of that character would be to do the research to find it, I guess.
Yes.
The joining the consciousness sounds so complicated. It really does.
It sounds very cool.
Intellectual,
artistic.
right?
Yeah,
But
joining the
it
consciousness
means,
of the character.
So using that guy who won the Medal of Honor,
Yes.
who killed all those people,
Yes.
he was shot.
Mm-hmm.
His consciousness was to do his job,
Yeah.
not I'm a killer.
No. Yeah.
I'm a tough guy. He wasn't a tough guy.
No, and once he was out of the war, he never killed anyone again.
Never.
I'm certain. Yeah.
Never.
That was a piece. So I wrote this piece about veterans. I didn't know it was going to be about veterans in like the VA hospitals and whatnot until the very end. I wanted it to be more meaningful. What is this? And I was like, oh, he's a homeless veteran.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I everything really came together last minute, and I was like, okay, let me call my friends, two that almost died in Afghanistan.
Yeah.
And I knew what I had written was that this guy would never want to go back.
Mm-hmm.
He was injured in war, and he now the VA hospital is not taking care of him and all this stuff. So I called my friend who was driving, and a bomb exploded, flipped the whole thing upside down.
And he survived.
And he survived. He got a Purple Heart. I
Yeah, right.
believe.
That's what. Yes, Purple
Yeah.
Hearts are generally given for people who are wounded in battle.
Yeah.
Right.
And so he.
And forgive us
No, go ahead.
if we don't know our exact military.
Yeah.
Oh yes, all listeners everywhere, please forgive us. We're not
Yes, we're not military people. But
Yeah.
experts.
So I interviewed him for about an hour, really got to have a nice conversation. And I called my other friend who a very similar thing happened, and where his he was transporting something and got flipped over of a bomb, and everybody was freaking out, and he's like, well, we couldn't all freak out. And so he had to take it and take things on.
But he didn't.
But he did, he saved the day, and it was like this whole thing.
Yeah.
And I asked them both if they would go back over there, would they? And they both said in a heartbeat. And I had thought, because you almost died somewhere, you would never want to go back. So that's what I wrote it as.
Yeah.
But once I was informed based on the character that I created based on two friends of mine, and I got to the bottom of it, and my whole perception changed, because that was when they felt like they were doing the most in life and nothing in America.
And their life was meaningful.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of different stories, because there are people who can't fight.
Yeah.
They're incapable, so they have to put them behind the lines doing other things.
Right, meaning that they get through basic training and they're like, we should not send this person to the front lines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Put them in charge of fixing the tanks or the trucks, or because not everyone can
in a support
fight.
position.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From what I understand, they need 9 people to support one fighting soldier.
There are a lot of jobs in the military that have nothing to do with active combat.
Getting food, water, ammunition. Without food, the soldier can't. Is he going to be, helpless if you don't get all these other things to them? What we're getting really into right now is, how do I create a character that's different than me? Isn't that what we're getting into?
Yeah.
Because it's really different than me. Well, in order to join the consciousness, you have to find out what is even the reality of that person's life.
The day-to-day, as well as what are the shaping characteristics of their upbringing. This goes all the way back to the beginning. Is this a person who trusts people, or a person who distrusts people?
Yeah.
Really? Because it's like, that's a key, when you and I met, it was a key difference between the two of us, because I couldn't understand your point of view on things. Yeah. We would talk and I'd be like, that person's not, I think that's not happening. And he'd be like, it's happening. And I'd be like, I don't think that's happening.
and many times you were right. Many times.
Right. But sometimes I was wrong and you were right.
That's right.
It's like...
You always try to
because either extreme is not actually accurate.
Sometimes people really are trustworthy.
Yeah.
Completely trustworthy. And will die for you. And you don't know. But when you play these characters, you have to move your belief system, put it aside, because the character might not have your belief system.
I know. You have to know what your belief system is in the first place. I mean, I think that's so much about, if you don't know yourself, who you are and what you are, how can you ever really figure out who someone else is?
That's at the highest level. That's right. Because if you're playing characters that are similar to you, you don't have to really know who you are.
You really don't.
But when you're really playing characters that are not similar to you, then they really have to know who you are. So then, for instance, the character may work out with weights. And you'd say, like, well, I can't play this character. I have to work out with weights.
Wasn't that what Marlon Brando did in
Yes.
Streetcar Named Desire? He was like the guy who was like, because he was on Broadway and he asked to have a weight room installed at the theater.
In the basement.
So in the basement of the theater, so that he could like work out with weights, because he was like, Stanley uses his body. He works with his body. I have to look like I work with my body.
Right. I have to be really strong.
Right.
So I can't look like an actor. It's exactly,
Yeah.
No one had ever done that.
And when you say really like thinking with this point of view of the character, it reminded me of my favorite note of yours of all time, which was, you actually believe what the writer wrote because I was reading the
Yes, I
script.
know, yeah.
I was reading the script from my belief system,
Mm-hmm.
and although the character was lying to get something else in the script, I was reading it as, oh, he loves her because he said he loves her, and keep on going, right? Because I was reading it with my belief system versus understanding what he was trying to get.
The Midwestern belief system.
Exactly. Yes.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
And then
You
that
believe
changed
what
everything.
the character's saying? You believe them 100%?
Yeah.
At face value?
You know, in life,
Yeah.
we will tell more truth to other people, but in scripts,
Well,
How do
scripts
we
tend
create
to be
conflict?
about
Yeah.
more, well, it really depends on the character.
but if everybody's telling the truth,
Oh, no. That's, first of all, that's just unrealistic. The world is so much more complicated than that. We lie about stupid things. We lie about things that don't even matter.
that's
We
the
lie
truth.
about what we did yesterday. Why did we lie? I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, what'd you do yesterday? I worked out. You're like, no, I didn't. You sat on the couch and watched TV for 8 hours straight. Why'd you lie about that? I don't know.
I do. I will lie about having a headache, for instance. You know, it's like, oh, it's something. You have a headache? No, I'm fine. Because I don't fucking want to talk about it.
Yeah.
I know. Except the difference is I always know that you're lying. I don't know why.
course.
I'm like, he's lying right now. He has a terrible headache. I don't know why he would lie to me, because he doesn't want to talk about it. That's why.
That's right.
Yeah, I know.
But you know me.
Oh, yeah.
There's a relationship. Mark might not know that I have a headache.
That's true. You can lie more effectively to Mark than you can to me.
Right. Well, we can always lie more effectively to people who don't know us.
Of course. Yeah.
But if we're really good liars, we could fucking lie effectively to the closest person.
Especially if they haven't seen the Invention of Lying movie yet. Have you guys seen that? The Invention of Lying?
No,
No.
You've never seen The Invention of Lying?
no. What is it?
So it's Edward Norton's in it, and I forget who plays Louis C.K. I believe is in it.
Oh, yeah.
But basically, nobody
did
is.
this come out when like Louis C.K. just got canceled?
No, wait. I think way
Oh.
before.
Oh, okay.
And,
then I just missed it.
Here, let me see if I can even just read the log line.
By the way,
You look it up while we're talking
yeah,
about.
I want you
So-
to know that I'm hearing you, and I know
Well,
what you're
people lie-
telling me.
People have other families. I'm always. It's one of the most amazing lies.
Oh
to
yeah,
me.
yeah, yeah. No, I know what you're talking about. People
They get
will,
married and they have
Yeah.
two families.
Yeah.
They're married to two families.
Yeah, they have 2 sets of children. Yeah.
Richard.
Don't hear about women doing that, by the way.
I worked on.
Women can't do that lie because they have to take care of the kids. They don't do it, but men do. Yes,
King Richard.
I know.
We worked.
Richard Williams, I know. He had a
Richard
family
Williams,
in Chicago.
That Will, we
Yeah.
coached him. We
Yeah.
worked on that,
Mhm.
So he had another family.
I know. That he had left behind. I know.
And they didn't focus on that
I know.
because that wasn't the theme of the movie.
It would have taken the movie down a different
right.
road, and they didn't want to focus on that.
No, because the focus was the tennis, and it was over a 4-year period.
Yes. Yes.
And
But
it
they
is a
did
movie.
reference it. They referenced it
and
in
it is
that.
a movie.
Yes.
It's not a documentary,
Right.
and they were focusing on not the positive things that Richard did
Mhm.
and the negative things, but they didn't want to focus completely on the negative thing because it's a movie.
You always, with a biopic, really have to limit the scope of how much of the life you want to include, because a life has too
much.
many aspects and facets that it will overwhelm a 2-hour movie. You just can't. You have to limit the scope of what you talk about.
And when we worked on the character
Mm-hmm.
of Richard, we didn't want. We consciously focused
Mm-hmm.
to make it conscious that
Mm-hmm.
Richard
Yeah.
believed
Yeah.
that he had taken care of that family,
Ah, yes.
and that was over.
Yes. So
Do you-
therefore,
do you
he
see?
wasn't. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And this new family
Mm-hmm.
that he had with the 5 children
Yeah.
was his real family and the only family he had, because he had that other family was over.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
Even though he had never gotten divorced,
everyone comes.
Do you see the
yes,
consciousness?
from their point of view? Yes.
And it wasn't relevant
Yeah.
because it changes the entire story.
Right.
Because Richard was actually a very good father
I
in
know.
that script.
Yes.
He never hit his kids. He didn't abuse them.
And I mean, look, the way that they all talk about him is that he
helped make them champions.
yes, challenging, inspirational,
And the family
passionate.
The family approved that.
Yes.
That movie was approved by the family.
Yes.
That's the image they wanted.
Right.
And they felt, and we had spoken to them, and they were great.
Yeah.
We asked them questions. Did he ever hit you? No.
Yeah.
It's not what he did. That's not how he punished us. He was a father who punished us, but not like that. He would tell us to go to our room.
Yeah.
Sounds
Yeah.
familiar.
So then if you're looking at a character who has two families, you can't be in the back of your head like, well, I'm pulling one over on everybody.
That's right.
I am the mastermind. No, it's like it's
Where are you going today, Richard? I'm going to the grocery store, and
yes. I have to fly to Chicago for some business tomorrow,
right.
I'll be back in a week.
No, they never did.
Yeah, no, I know.
He
That's what
never
I'm saying.
did that.
No, I know. But what I'm saying is you must see it as I have this family here and I'm taking care of them.
And my other
And my
family I
other
took
family,
care of.
Right.
I took
yes.
care of them,
Right.
and I'm divorced now
Right.
from that family.
Right. They don't need my help anymore anyway.
That's how we did it.
Right.
That's joining the consciousness
Of the character.
of the character.
Right.
I took care of my other family. They're fine.
Mm-hmm.
I'm divorced. I have
This
a
is
new
the
family.
Right.
Well, actually, doesn't that sound good?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Reasonable.
That was Richard's point of view.
I love it because it turns everyone into this perfectly formed world in and of themselves. Like each person is their own universe internally, because they all have a different system of beliefs that has led them to justify exactly where they are.
Let's look. What you're saying is exactly right.
Mm-hmm.
And let's look at that, what you're saying in Oppenheimer.
Oh, yeah. Have you seen
Now,
Oppenheimer?
I have, yep.
Yeah.
Right. So we can look at that.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone acknowledged
Mm-hmm.
that, and including Oppenheimer,
Mm-hmm.
that there were communists in his sphere of influence.
Right. Yes, that there were communists.
His wife had joined the Communist
brother.
Party.
His brother was
His
a member.
brother had
His
a
brother,
member of the
his
Communist
sister-in-law.
Party.
Yes.
They were all,
Yes.
they joined. Then they left. This is his story, and this is, of course, his point of view, that
Yeah.
they had nothing more to do with the party.
Right. That they all agreed that they were no longer going to engage with that
Right.
political
Right.
activism.
And that they were patriots.
Mm-hmm. Which plenty of people who were communists were patriots, but yeah.
Very complicated.
Mm-hmm.
He certainly was a patriot.
Mm-hmm.
Look what he did.
Oh, yeah.
He
He
gave up
dedicated his life.
his life
Yes.
to trying to give our country a bomb, because he knew all these people. And of course, it was a huge collaboration. It wasn't
Huge.
just
no,
him.
it wasn't. No.
But they make that clear
I
in the
thought
movie.
that was very clear in the movie. It wasn't just him.
Nolan is brilliant.
Yes, he was the leader of a group of people who did it together.
Right. And maybe someone else could have done it, but he did it.
Yes.
He made it happen.
Yes, that's right.
And he certainly wasn't a communist. There was no question.
No, he never joined the party. He went to some events, but no, he was not a communist.
Right. So in his point of view,
Mm-hmm.
in his consciousness, he was a great patriot
Yes.
who sacrificed part of his life
Yes.
to create this weapon,
Mm-hmm.
which helped conquer the world
Yes.
and made us
Safe.
the superpower.
Yes.
Why should he not be allowed? Why should he not be trusted? And of course, that was the issue in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But they never stopped him from working.
No, they never
just-
stopped him. They revoked his security clearance.
for working for the government.
Yes, right.
But he did work for the rest of his life
Yes.
as the head
Yeah.
of the program that he had in Princeton. He did. They didn't take that away from him.
No. So what's your connection to the
His-
point of view?
His point of view was, well, why did you even take that? I am completely trustworthy.
Yeah, of course. From his point of view, he's like, this is absurd, truly absurd.
Yes.
And then meanwhile, they're like, well, you hired people who spied. And there were spies. Fuchs,
There were-
right?
absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Green Glass, I think. There were several.
I don't know the name. I don't remember the
I
names.
just looked it up the other day.
Oh, good.
It was
good.
Fuchs.
Right. Yeah, Fuchs gave the information to the Rosenblatts, I believe. Rosenblatts? Were they?
Rosenbergs.
Rosenberg.
Julius and Ethel.
But not Oppenheimer.
No.
He did what he said he would do. He was really part of a heroic figure in the war
Yeah.
that saved hundreds of thousands of American lives so that the battle
Mm-hmm.
for Japan
Would end
would
much
end,
sooner.
and it did.
It did. Yes, that's true.
You know, and then they are again. We're back into that argument.
We don't need
of
to
like,
have that debate
yeah,
here about whether it was
well,
justified or
about
not
justified,
justified.
Yeah, well, it's all bullshit. He created the weapon with all these people in this huge collaborative effort, and that's the weapon. And when you have a weapon in war, you use it until someone says, "I give up." You don't say like, "Well, they're thinking of giving up." You know, he used. That's a military decision. That was not his decision, by the way. That is truly Truman's decision. Truman is the head commander-in-chief.
Yeah.
So from the point of view, again, of the consciousness of the character of Oppenheimer, he did his job.
Yes.
It was then given to the military, and they did their
They
job.
made a decision, and that decision was not his decision.
It was not his decision,
Yeah.
which was clear in the movie. Nolan made that really clear.
Yeah, I really like how they did that part.
Yeah.
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 Because that was the truth.
Right.
If you know about
He didn't
the
have
military,
the choice.
he had no choice.
His choice was to work on the project or not,
Right.
to lead the project or not. That was the choice.
Quit if you don't like it.
Right. Somebody else would have taken his place.
What a brilliant piece of acting
Yeah.
that Cillian,
Murphy. Yes.
who we had spoken about previously with
Kevin, right?
Kevin.
Yes. Yes.
Remember? We
Yes. Killian. Yes.
Yes. And what a beautiful job he did. It's so real.
It is.
Did you think it's real, Mark?
Which part?
Cillian Murphy's performance.
Absolutely. And it was like that performance, because he's always been a great actor. It's always like, oh, he's you anything you see, like, oh, he's really great. And then now, because Nolan chose him for that, right?
Yeah. Yes.
was
Yes.
like-
Yes. He called
and,
him.
and-
Yeah,
call.
yeah.
Yes, and
Yeah.
not just for, of course, he chose him because he's a great actor,
Yeah.
but he also chose him because physically, Nolan didn't choose a black man for that role.
No, if you look at
you
Cillian Murphy and
Yeah.
J. Robert Oppenheimer, there is physical similarity
yeah,
that is
yeah.
beautiful. Like they really found. I mean, Christopher Nolan was brilliant in his casting decision on that because, of course, it is helpful to capture the essence of that human being physically as well as spiritually.
And you can do that with makeup and
course,
hair and
yeah.
all, but it's still a brilliant. But there are performances in that movie that are not brilliant. I love the actor who plays Iron Man.
Robert Downey Jr.
Right. I love Robert Downey Jr. And I thought Robert Downey Jr. was great in Oppenheimer until the end.
I know. I agree
After
with
the
you.
war, the part after the war,
Yeah, most of that trial sequence where he's,
he overacted. Yeah. Overacting is bad acting. He suddenly became crazy. Was he crazy or not?
Yeah.
Do you remember? He was like,
Yeah. Yeah.
he was crazy.
he was screaming.
Screaming, yelling. Now, you can actually justify that. Say, well, the character really was screaming and yelling. There were witnesses that said he was screaming and yelling. But that doesn't mean it's, see, that's, we move into, it's not doing a documentary of that character.
No. The whole thing is so not a documentary. It's, there's all kinds of parts of it that are narrative flights of fancy and, non-realistic.
Right? That's right. In that movie, they go into...
there's a whole part where he's talking to the crowd, and then he sees their faces sort of like
and there's
disintegrate.
A scene where he's having sex with a woman while he's with his wife, while
He's
in the room.
In the room, yeah.
In the room, this
Right.
dream sequence.
Right, yes.
Yeah, all that is wonderful.
Yeah, I thought that was very artistic.
Wonderful. But the end of that performance, what he did, turned him into like this crazy villain.
Yes.
And again, he's not a villain.
No, he's got to be justified from his point of view.
And it
He's got to
felt
be
like the actor made a conscious choice. I'm going to go crazy here. Now, that's just my opinion. That doesn't mean I didn't love the film or see the artistic brilliance of it, but it doesn't mean I have to like everything.
No, of course not. No. Well, I agree with you, but that's...
Yeah, it's not Barbie,
Correct. If ever was a perfect film, it was Barbie.
What you're really saying at the heart of what we're talking about is a continuation of this same idea, which is I don't think he saw the world from his character's point of view. He judged the character.
At the end, that's what I felt.
Yeah.
I felt he suddenly wasn't a good guy anymore.
Yeah.
Even though what he was doing was not good, he needed to still be a good guy. Do you know what I mean by that?
Yeah, I can see that.
Meaning, I may divorce someone, right? And I'm the one who cheated, and I'm the bad person, and I did this terrible thing, but I still think I'm doing the right thing by divorcing them.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm not saying, now that I've destroyed your life, now I'm going to divorce you. Now I'm going to divorce you because this is the final thing because I want to destroy you. That's not real. That's not what we do.
I know,
Do you?
Yeah,
Have something
Because
become
even movies, by the way,
a maniac?
even movies about revenge, it's because you feel you've been wronged. Revenge is about
Absolutely.
justice.
Yes, it is.
And therefore, you may decide to destroy someone's life, but it's because they destroyed yours.
Yes. Yes.
I know.
And at the end, he just started emoting. It's as if he decided, this is what it felt like to me. The actor decided,
This is the end of the movie.
I want to show that he went a little crazy. He went a little crazy,
Power hungry.
He went power hungry. That's what it felt like.
Right, yeah. That he made
went-
an assessment from the outside that the character went power hungry, and now I have to make sure I am power hungry.
When he didn't have to, it was written that way. He didn't have to do that. We got it without him doing that. Now, here's a fascinating thing we'll never know because no one else gets a chance to do the role. Robert Downey Jr. is a wonderful actor, and even wonderful actors don't always...
Of course.
Aren't
We're
always
all
wonderful.
allowed to have less than, How can
and
you...
This
you
is an
can't be
important
perfect.
idea
Yeah.
that every piece of art or every piece of work, rather, that you do does not always succeed.
Yeah.
Now, Robert Downey Jr. could win an Academy Award for what he did for Best Supporting Actor. It's certainly possible.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah.
And he's a brilliant actor. And I could be wrong. But maybe he could be wrong too.
These things are very
art
subjective.
is a subjective thing.
Yes.
And it's very important. And this is the point I want to make, that I could be totally wrong. He could be totally wrong. You put yourself out there. He put himself out there.
Right. Well, every actor, whoever,
Right.
we all have to be brave enough to
Yes.
put ourselves in the court of public opinion. And that takes guts.
And I respect that. And I respect Robert Downey Jr. tremendously. And I could still say I didn't like that, though.
Yeah, totally.
But that doesn't mean I don't respect him. What actor hasn't done a bad performance? It's ridiculous, right?
There isn't one
There's
that
no
hasn't.
such
I know,
thing.
it's impossible.
What painter, what famous painter hasn't done a bad canvas?
They just won't show it to you.
But no,
They get-
sometimes
they
they
get
will because
burned.
they need the money.
Yeah, if they're making the
I'll
money.
give you
yeah.
$10 million for that
Yeah,
bad fucking
you're telling me
canvas, you know?
Picasso never had any bad art? I don't believe it.
Not one.
Maybe it even sold for more because it was bad.
I know. It
That's
was a
where
less
it's subjective.
than,
Like,
I know.
ooh, I got the one where.
So
He didn't do
what I
such
want
a
to
great
make
job.
the point on this is that we can't judge it when we're doing it,
Yeah.
and we do the best we can.
Yeah, we go out on the wire and we see what works and what
I'm not
doesn't.
angry at Robert Downey Jr. or that maybe I didn't like that part. I loved the rest of it. I loved it. I loved what he did I loved it,
Yeah.
you know. But that part, it was difficult.
Yeah.
I saw, as a teacher, I saw
Him acting.
acting.
Yes. Right.
Now maybe I'm wrong. So
You reserve the right. I know. We all do. That's
and
the
if
whole
I met
point.
Robert Downey Jr.,
Mm-hmm.
I would still tell him how brilliant he is, because he is.
Yes.
He's brilliant.
Yes. I mean, how many brilliant movies has
Right.
he done? Yeah. It's great work.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But something happened, I feel, there.
Well, I think we should wrap things up because this has
Yes?
been
What do you think?
yeah, absolutely. And then I
Should
have
we
a
do more?
No, we're good. And I have a couple of things. I don't know if this is exactly the quote, but I've
Yeah.
had the quote for a minute from Sapiens.
yeah.
Was it, unlike lying, an imagined reality is something that everyone believes in, and as long as this communal belief persists, the imagined reality exerts force in the world.
That
That
is
is a great.
fucking brilliant. Could you say it again?
Yeah.
Slower? Go
Yeah.
slower. And
All right.
with the thought pieces, you know?
Yeah, so unlike lying, an imagined reality is something that everyone believes in.
Mm-hmm.
And as long as this communal belief persists, the imagined reality exerts force in the world.
That's like
And then use the
100% better.
example of that we believe the
shared. Yes.
Earth is flat, and if
Yes.
you take a boat out into the ocean, you'll fall over the side and die.
I mean, look at the belief that women themselves believed it for such a long time, that women were inferior to men, that we had brains that were inferior.
Racism. That's sex. Racism.
Yes, those were shared
Certain
beliefs.
races are
Yes.
inferior.
I know.
Native Americans of anywhere in the world.
I know.
Natives anywhere
Yeah,
in the
Native
world
people,
who live there are inferior.
That's a great quote.
Yeah.
What was the other one?
Oh, and then the other thing was...
Could you send me that quote?
Yeah, I'll send it to you. The Invention of Lying. I'm surprised you
Yes.
guys both haven't seen it. So it was Ricky Gervais.
Oh,
He wrote and
that's
directed
right.
it
Yeah,
along
I
with
didn't see it. We'll have
Matthew
to watch it.
Robinson. Yeah, in a world where lying doesn't exist.
Oh, we did see. I think we saw part of it.
Yeah, it's like
okay.
I'm
was
not sure it holds
funny.
up. It was 2009, yeah, but in a world that lying doesn't exist, and
Yeah.
one person invents it, and he starts just telling people like, "I'm this," like, "You're that? Oh, I didn't know you were doing that." And like,
Yeah.
and he starts.
If you're
using
that
it.
person, you can take over the world.
Yeah.
You can do
You can.
anything you want.
And then Ed Norton is a cop, and I think just makes a cameo, but he lies to the cop, and then he believes him because.
Of course, everybody tells the truth. Well, this was really fun.
Cut like